Hey guys, Brent Ehrler here with Dustin, Connell, and Andy Morgan, and we are taking a look at the Summit Cup from Lake of the Ozarks. Should be fun. I don't even remember what happened, so I'm hoping you guys remember a little bit, and we can talk our way through it and see how we caught them. I'm interested to see how you guys caught them. I don't remember how I caught them, but I want to figure out how you guys did. So, what do you guys think? You ready?
Ready to roll.
Perfect. Let's roll it. Have you guys watched this show yet?
No, have not.
I haven't watched it
These
either.
guys are the best fishermen in the world. You put them in a mud hole, somebody's going to catch them.
You go out there with both fists swinging, and you never let up.
When those guys are just pounding it on and moving up the score tracker, it really puts the pressure on you.
You guys ever been to Lake of the Ozarks before?
Yeah, I've been there like, I think twice before that, and both times were in the fall, in October.
They were in the fall.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, both times I've been, and done fairly well, done really well one time. And it was always in October, and it was kind of mid to the end of October, which, you know, pretty much is when we were there.
Yeah, this was October, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
I was a little excited about that when it landed on Lake of the Ozarks. That's where we were headed. I'm like, wow. I got a little experience there.
Yeah. Have you fished in the areas that we went to or no?
Dude, I'd caught them.
Area?
The area we went to, I had caught them in. I had hauled them in there the first time I'd ever went, but that was, I think it was 2006. So it'd been a while, but it all still pretty much looked the same.
Yeah.
A few more boat docks, obviously, bigger houses, but that was about it.
Yeah. That was the first thing that I remember being on there. You know, I never saw the lake before. I remember hearing it had boat docks, but I mean, it was so hard to even find a shoreline, you know, without a boat dock, period. Like, if you wanted to run bank, you couldn't. You could make like a perpendicular cast.
Remember, that first time I went, it was always tough to even get to the bank and cross cables, trick casting, and losing fish over cables. But it was power fishing 101. You know, the other times I'd been there, and I don't know that may have hindered me a little bit going into this. You know,
10
pretty
will face
blind.
off in Elimination Round 3, but only 6 will move on to the sudden death rounds, putting them one step closer to the Summit Cup Championship. Let's meet today's 10 anglers. Coming in as the #1 ranked angler, Jacob Wheeler.
I actually don't remember who all fished that day.
I remember Jacob and you and Casey
Brent Ehrler,
and Connell, because we ate supper. I believe me and you and Wheeler ate supper that night, talking about deer hunting the day before we went. So
at number 8,
I remember that.
Next in line at 19th, Adrian Avina. At the 24th place spot, Andy Morgan. He holds a 25th place ranking.
I just remember there was a fun golf course right there by where we stayed.
There was, yeah.
There was a bunch of deer on that golf course, too.
Oh my goodness, there's a pile of them.
There was. We rode around every afternoon, looked at deer off the road.
And all the gophers.
What baits he believes will do the trick in today's general tire anywhere as possible.
Fall is upon us. The leaves are turning.
I remember it being cold. I do remember that.
It's like one of the very first fronts of the year, if I remember correctly. There might have been a small kind of a minor one, but that was a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Remember the wind?
Yeah.
But you know, I've got 5 baits here.
Yeah, Bobby and I golfed one day, and it was so windy.
Yes.
History tells me this is what I've had success on. I got a lot of confidence in them.
I remember I got out and shot my bow the day before we fished, and it was smoking. I had to get way off the side of the hill down there to try to get a little bit of buffer and get behind that hillside to shoot.
This is a wake bull. A really great shad imitation, especially when they're on shallower rocks, smaller shad that they're keying on. This bait doesn't die very.
Did Edwin fish this day?
Unique rattle.
Deer.
The last 2 I've got here, you know, you can't leave the dock without them. I got a Berkeley square bull. It's just their version of a square bill. It's very unique bait. It's got a coffin style lip. You can see how chewed up that bait is. And then the Chapo, just a very unique sounding top water that's really great in clear water or stained water situations. I believe it's going to be a big key this week.
Yeah.
With no practice and no information, the anglers had no idea where they would be fishing until they pulled up to the ramp this morning. With more on that, let's go to Marty Stone with today's lake breakdown.
Elimination round number 3. And we brought the anglers back down to the lower third of Lake of the Ozarks in the Gravois Creek area. It covers over 102 miles.
That's a really good arm when I was there in the past. That Gravois was always really good. That's where the Hipton always caught them moons and moons ago. It was always full of back. A lot of tournaments were won out of the Gravois back in the day.
Is that the biggest creek before the dam? Looked like that was close to the dam.
It was, yeah. It's got a little flow in the back. Actually gets a little color in it. Seems like there's always a ton of bait that goes up in the Gravois. And of course, you got that big population of fish, and usually some big fish live on that bottom end.
Yeah.
Typically, there was always big ones caught out of that Gravois area.
And you know what people don't realize is that we're literally staying right on the lake, but we're not allowed to look at a map. So, they hand us that zone. Randy hands us that map in the morning. I don't know if we're way up the river, if we're by the dam. Right there, they showed the map of the whole lake, and they zoomed in on our zone. I didn't even know we were right there by the dam. I had no clue.
Right. And when you get there and look at the Gravois too, it's almost got a little bit of a river feel to it when you get back there toward the back. You would think it might be up a smaller tributary or actually up in the river.
It did, for sure, yeah. No, I remember that. It felt like I was way up on one of the ends.
Yeah.
The reason you came out of the hole, because I know you flew there and you packed about 10 pounds worth of tackle. You had probably 2 jigs, 1 crankbait, 1 jerkbait, maybe a spinnerbait, and 3 rods. That's why you're getting out of the hole.
8 rod and reels.
And at the end of the trip, you just threw your rods and reels away, huh? Because you didn't want to take them back.
I did. Gave them some kids, standing there randomly.
Dodos. Giant ones.
I like everything.
I remember that. Fog. I was sitting there thinking the whole time whenever we were launching, I'm like, dude, they're going to be blowing top water out of here.
Boom, boom, boom in a row, instead of just go down a random bank. On his Lowrance.
Yeah, foggy morning like that. You would think that would have worked for sure.
Yeah, I thought that would be a really good. I thought we would really blast them because that place has the potential for really good.
Well, you know what happened too? Right before we got there, there was a Costa a week before we got there. Remember?
You're right.
And so they had 150 guys that fished it for 10 days straight.
Right.
And then the first morning that I got there a day early. There was 4 tournaments going on or something before we even started. So they had the Costa that ended, and they had a bunch of championship tournaments. I remember one of them had 200 boats in it. So the lake had gotten pounded before we got there.
It did. That lake traditionally gets a lot of fall pressure where it sits in the country, and there's a lot of champions from a smaller tournament. So it gets the heat put on.
I can't just practice. I mean, I have to make up my mind whether I want to start here or not. And, there could not be a bad area in this lake. It could be all good, just figuring out the style of baits and how the fish want the bait presented. That could be key.
You'll find
I think Bobby caught him really well in the morning in this. If I'm not mistaken, I think he wrecked them when it was way ahead.
I think he might have been the first one, if I'm not mistaken.
What's that?
I thought he might have been the first one on the score tracker, maybe.
Yeah, I think he led it for a really long time. Like I remember just, when everything happens like this, you're out there fishing, you might have caught one or you haven't caught anything, and one guy catches one. And the next thing you know, he catches 2, 3, 4, and pretty soon he has like a 10, 15-pound lead, and you're still working on number 1 or number 2. And I think that's what Bobby did here.
Yeah, and that's it makes you want to panic just a little bit, when that gets going. Like, oh my God, I'm never going to catch it.
Yeah, I'm curious. Now I'm, watching this. The things are starting to come back.
And you're not the winter, but trying to take it in. You're trying to catch something.
Yeah. I'm curious. I want to see how Bobby catches them because I remember that now.
Yeah.
The top 30 performers.
See what I was doing wrong.
7 and 8 of the
I think I started catching them later in the
2022
afternoon, but
have qualified to compete in the Wiley X
I don't
Summit
remember.
Cup, presented by B&W Trailer
Honestly,
Hitches,
don't remember how we all
which the
finished
first group
up.
of 10 anglers are eagerly
No, I
awaiting the
didn't catch no
countdown to
whole
line
lot.
10
I
here on
always thought I
Saturday,
was right on the
28th
verge of
Ozarks.
busting it
Today's
pretty
elimination
good, but I
round
never
will
could.
consist of
You know how you
3
get you. I knew I was
top
getting kind of
6
close to
anglers at the
maybe
end of
catching
the
some
day,
good
and
ones.
will advance
Then
to
it
the
just
second death
never.
round.
I'd get a bite or two here and there, man. And it
Eliminators. Major
it was
League
pretty
Fishing's
tough.
elimination
But
round
there was
Yeah.
some good
begins
biting.
now.
You just had to.
Not quite ready.
You had to
I
get it.
remember. Yeah, I remember it being tough.
There she goes.
I think we hit that a little bit.
Feel pretty good, you know, with
The weather and the water temp
we don't have much
felt
wind,
right
but it's
for
supposed to
fall
get that way
fishing,
over
but I
the east.
remember
We
it
gotta try to
just got
make
there.
the best
So
of
in my mind, I remember that the
Most time
fish,
when
I
the
was
wind
like,
blows,
I don't think they're caught up
makes
yet.
them bite. It just makes
Because
them
you go in the
bite.
back of the places, and I remember seeing shad everywhere. It's just the backs weren't there. So basically, the same thing that happens, I guess, before they spawn. Everybody is before them, and we're like, where y'all at? Where y'all at? And I remember, like, the shad were there. Just, I never found the fish.
They actually, I remember that. Now that you're saying that, I remember there was one area that the shad were so thick that you'd snag them on your jerkbait.
Yep.
And I never caught anything where the shad were thick like that. You had to
Yes.
get away from the shad. That were that thick at least.
Mhm.
Cloudy. They ought to be choking a buzz.
Yeah, I think we're there in a really big transition.
Temperatures are factors to
With
consider.
3 or 4 or 5 days there in that cold front. I think we really moved those fish.
In the fall of
And I
the
think
year,
each side of that, I think we were
several
really
things
some
that fishermen
big
need to pay
catches.
attention to. One is when days get shorter, that's going to start the migration of bait fish and bass to the backs of the pockets. But it's not immediately. There's got to be a drop in water temp. And normally it happens around that 70-degree mark, and the bass and bait fish will stay back there all the way to the point when the water gets into the high 50s. And when that happens, then there's a reversal. The bait fish migrate back out. So in the fall of the year, when that water is north of mid-60s, it's going to be about the back of the creeks. But when that water gets south of 60-degree mark, make no mistake about it, the main lake bite will be what dominates.
I do not like. I don't like
There you
where it
go.
started at all.
There's one I was just going to ask if anybody caught one on top water on this day. Right there, Edwin caught one on a buzzer
Mhm.
or Chapo or something.
Yeah, I think I got a couple on a buzzer too, from what I can remember.
Not surprised. And we're trying to show off already. All right. See how you play.
I don't think I caught a single one on top water in that event.
Is Bobby flipping trees?
Although,
Yeah, it looked like it.
Had to have it. He just had to have it.
2 pounds, 4 ounces.
Had to have it. There you go.
Number 1. Gonna be a day, guys.
The Bobby's famous thing. Had to have it.
Pretty dang quick.
That warmed me up quick enough right there. Just make sure there's not another one in there.
That's when it's hardest.
Black and blue jig with a blue trailer.
Straight out of Florida.
Ozarks.
Like that.
yeah, secret color.
Come on, fish.
Oh, they got another
My
one.
goodness, don't you
I remember he caught him early.
Oh, I gotta be really careful with them.
What did he catch that one on? Buzzer.
Barely hooked. Oh my goodness, he was barely hooked.
Yeah.
Had to have it.
All I used, look at that, it just fell right out.
2 pounds, 14 ounces.
Heck yeah, that's a nice one. First bass of the day.
Oh yeah, that was my first bite. I remember that was a big one.
Dude, that was a good one.
Crankbait.
Brent Ehrler take a second.
Look at it hooked under his chin right there.
A good one.
Barely hooked, like by his fins down there. I don't even know how I got him.
Was that crank?
Crankbait, yeah.
Have it.
1 pound, 3 ounces.
Yeah, well, like a
Had to have it.
crawdad color, 10-foot diver.
Hey, look at Adrian. He's way
Place
back.
get real finicky on color, and it was good to see that fish there just ate an old
What's Bobo doing? Buzzing?
blue jig.
Yeah.
Always read about.
Because last one was on a buzzer.
My connection's going in and out.
Jigs tied on. And the one box I forgot was my jigs. They're gonna get caught on the
Lucas.
docks today. That's just in the store. They're gonna get caught on the docks.
There's old Connell. He's docking.
And I really am not a big fan of dock fishing, but I feel like that's the dominant over there. And look at Andy Morgan catching them off docks.
Shocker. I love to fish docks.
1 pound, 9 ounces.
The thing that was hard about it looked like you caught that one on a jig. The thing that's hard about that is you go up and you skip a dock and it's 30 feet deep underneath the dock. What do you do?
So many times these fish are not.
I hate it when you got all that deep stuff under dock, unless you're just throwing it brush or something.
You skip under the dock and you got to count to 20 before it hits the bottom.
I know, dude, and that's usually not me. I'm usually rolling, the best I can go. Those deep docks there are kind of a aggravation. Like you said, it's hard to get around there. There's so many docks, and even you're going by so much stuff, man. It feels like you're not fishing stuff very well, and it takes so long to get to the bank, to get to some shallower. It's kind of a weird deal.
Bobby catches another one on a jig under a tree.
Caught his 4th fish.
Oh, Bobby done parked on him from the get-go, hadn't he?
Bobby done caught him a couple. Dang, Bobby. Settle down, Bobby. Settle down, Bobby.
It's funny. I started in just fishing just exactly like Bobby is, just in a different area of the gravois.
I could have messed it up.
You got to be where they are. If you pull in the pocket, there's not any fish up. Well, guess what? You don't catch any.
I remember I started this deal where, it's literally dock to dock. You could almost walk across the entire lake around the shoreline, just jumping from dock to dock.
Yes.
And I ran the entire run period and stopped on a bank that didn't have any docks because I wanted to wind a crankbait and jerkbait around, something that was different. It's that find something that's different. If everything looks like one thing, find that one thing that's different. And you can do that at Okeechobee. If it's all reeds and all of a sudden there's Kissimmee grass, you fish the Kissimmee grass, or vice versa. If it's all Kissimmee and then you go to, a little stretch of reeds, you fish the reeds. There's all docks. I stopped on rock just to do something different.
I remember all these deer. Look here, Connell in the back of the pocket. There's like 16 deer in the back of this pocket.
Wow. Bobby is just great, man.
Look at that. Gone. Completely gone.
2 pounds, 0 ounce.
Black and blue jig in clear water.
Unbelievable. I love watching these shows because you see how these guys fish, and I'm like, what? If I do that, I would never got a bite, ever.
Dude, I was fishing just like that. I was slinging a jig and slinging a buzz bait and, rolling pretty good. And I had some bites there fairly early. I saw there I was in second, like, I don't know, first little while of the first period. I'm like, yeah, I'm fixing busting today. Power fish 101.
You know what you did wrong is you were throwing a green pumpkin jig instead of a black with a sapphire blue trailer.
Right, I wasn't near visible enough.
Clear water, that's what they like. Black and blue
That's
sapphire.
right. Finesse color.
I don't think I've ever thrown a black and blue with a straight blue sapphire trailer in my life, especially on a clear lake like that. And he does it right out of the get-go and starts smashing them.
Not over. Here comes Hamster right here.
That's the only one.
And everyone caught him on a buzzer. I don't even think I do it.
I threw a buzz bait like 40 minutes, and I didn't have a bite. I threw top of it. I remember that morning. I got going, and I was like, all right, they're going to be bite. Never had a bite on top.
Right there, man.
Wow.
Way under that pontoon. The sun's not out, but they still use it for cover.
Man, I'm just racking my brain. What else I can throw on these fish? That is unbelievable.
Look at that bait going. Look at that. Oh my goodness.
I've been fishing since I was 15 years old.
I've never saw that many in my life.
No.
Wow. That was nuts.
Had to have it.
Bobo can catch them now, son. He can catch them on the hook, and he can catch them when they fly in the air, son. He's like a center fielder.
On top and a jig.
1 pound.
Had to have it.
Nice.
Bobby Lane just scored his 6th bass, 1 pound and 10 ounces. He's up to 10-8.
Yeah, he's on something different.
He's got onto a pattern. That's what it takes to win.
Yeah, see, Bobby's pulling ahead right there.
Yeah.
I remember that, that just someone always does it. They catch them, and you're like, man, how? What are they doing? And you're sitting there just scratching to even get a bite.
I've seen that. So the cups that I fished before this, which I'm new to the Major League Fishing Cups, but what I have seen, my problem is when someone's like a buck like that, it's starting to make you think, am I just in the wrong area? In the wrong creek? There's something that it's a location deal.
Yeah.
Right.
If everybody's catching them and you're just not catching them, you definitely need to move.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, because we're looking here, basically everybody's doing the same thing. Well, other than Brent stopped on a stretch that had no docks. A lot of these fish are coming out from behind the cable stuff. It's typical there.
Look at that. What does Bobby have? Bobby has 11 pounds.
Yeah. Edwin has
What's second? Edwin has 4 pounds. So look, Bobby jumps out to a huge lead.
Yeah. And that's a big lead when you're talking in the fall too, man, because you're not probably not just gonna.
Yep. Anytime you're 11 pounds behind, it's not easy, especially where you don't know the water, you haven't practiced. You're trying to run into them still, and another lake, another event where the Bass Pro Tour event where we've practiced. Maybe that your bite starts picking up in the afternoon or something. You don't get too worried.
I think the biggest thing for I guess for all of us, like when you're sitting there watching these shows, you're like, man, why don't y'all just put, why don't they pick up a shaky head and go down that rock wall and try to get some bites? I think the biggest thing that we as fishermen try to do, we want to crack the code. We want to get a pattern going and actually figure out the puzzle. And sometimes you can figure it out, and sometimes you just got to go down the bank, catch whatever's in front of you. And I've seen that where sometimes it's just fishing. Sometimes you got to do that.
Yeah, and the other thing people don't realize is that we're on the clock and we haven't tried. We're trying to hurry up to find a group of fish or get into an area where Bobby's at right now, where he's catching a lot. And you pick up a shaky head and go to a rock wall, and by the time your bait hits the bottom, Bobby's caught 2 already. You're on your first cast. It's hard to slow down. You got to cover water and throw a moving bait. It's so hard to take the time to do that. I've said that, and now I'm throwing a wacky rig or something that takes forever to get to the bottom.
That's very well said.
I think I remember.
You got the confidence to slow down though. You get bites.
I know. I remember slowing down because I only had one at the time. I threw a crankbait all morning, and Bobby's catching them like crazy. And I pull up to one laydown, and I throw up there, and I break one off, and I throw up to the next one, and I snag him in the tree limb and have to break him off. I broke 2 off in a row, and so it was on a spinning rod laydown related. And I remember thinking, oh, Bobby's catching him on a shaky head or a drop shot. That was kind of my thought.
Nearly hooked. Don't you flop. He ought to keep.
1 pound, 4 ounces.
Spotted bass. I'll take him though.
1 pound, 2 ounces.
Do. Second keeper, finally. I can't get dialed in. I haven't really got that initial bite. So I think I kind of know what to do. Run this crankbait when I can, and then throw to some of the isolated stuff with a worm.
Look at Bobby.
Black and blue.
Yeah. Now
1 pound, 14 ounces.
a lot of docks there too.
114.
Nice one.
1 pound, 6 ounces.
Oh, yeah.
The water was clear, right? It wasn't dirty, was it?
It was clear. For the main part of that whole creek, unless you went into those back 2 arms that split like that, everything was clear. I was just sitting there looking. The whole time I was like, all right, it's too clear to crank, too clear to throw spinner baits, too clear. You know what I mean? There comes a point where it's like, all right. Actually, I fished that same little place where Adrian's sitting at, and I thought it was too clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Edwin Evers has added a 1 pound, 3 ounce bass. He's in second place with 10 pounds, 8 ounces.
Look at that. Bobby has 14 pounds.
I wonder if I should throw a little swim
We're
bait.
down there at 4, 3, and 0 right now.
That one ate it right off the wire.
1 pound, 0 ounces.
Spot.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
On the board.
I don't even know where that is right there. I don't remember seeing that.
I don't either.
Fish landing violation, 2-minute
Really?
Got him.
Got
He
it.
stepped on it.
That one there, these marinas are held down by cables. And that one there, I had my swim bait stuck on the cable, and that fish literally ate it right off of it.
I'll give you a complete. We get a
Uh-oh.
tracker update.
Oh, no. There he is.
On the board.
Finally. And Bobby's just straight still jacking them on docks.
1 pound, 6 ounces. 1 pound, 6 ounces.
Take it. New spot, new fish. See you, dude.
Might be just the little clue that I needed.
Maybe there's, you know, we're starting to get some waves, as you can see, and some wind blowing a little bit. Could be pushing
Yeah,
the fish
straight
out
black
the
and
dock
blue
just
sapphire.
a
I
tad.
can't believe that. I'm blown
Get
away.
up off that bank.
Bobby's a bank guy. I'm assuming he's running bank, but
And he's hauling
knows
them.
what he's doing.
I know.
That's the deal, boys. Oh, right there. Spot.
Was that chatterbait, Connell?
1 ounce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Together, baby, putting the pieces together.
So let me tell y'all a quick little story about this little deal. When in doubt, I guess the new deal for Major League Fishing is pull out a vibrating jig, chatterbait, whatever you want to call it, a jig with a blade on the front of it, and turn and burn. So finally, after I'm way behind, I said, "All right, let's pull it out. Let's go winding." So I just started going, and look right there.
And busted them.
You know what I noticed right there is that later in this day I start catching them, and it was to a T on the outside corner of a dock.
7 ounces.
Yep.
And I remember I started catching them on a jerkbait, and it had to be, you could fish all sides of the dock, and it would only be on the outside corners, and that was it. Never anything else, only the outside corners.
Yep.
He now has 3 fish.
Huh.
Right there, you caught one, and it was that outside corner. You did it with a chatterbait, but it was that outside corner like that.
It was a weird. I remember I had to go back. I was in the very back to the right of that one little bay. And I started seeing shad around the edge of those docks. And I figured that that's what they were doing, just hanging around the shad, maybe blowing up on them.
One him to death. I mean, he ain't catching no meat.
And there's Wheeler, outside corner of the dock.
Sure he is.
They were. I remember now. I probably had
I think they're in these little mouths, these little
close to 8 doubles.
I had fish come out on that side of that dock.
Jerkbait,
There's definitely some bait.
but not all of them kept. But I mean, I've never had that many doubles on ever in a day. And I remember I had a ton, and every one of them, you throw a jerkbait on the outside corner of the dock, and I had so many doubles, it was insane.
So to speak.
Literally like
Wow.
8 to 10 doubles. I think only one time, 2 of them were scoreable. The rest of the time, 1 or none of them. There'd be 2 non-scorables, or one would be like a pound quarter, and the other one would be 14 ounces or something.
Andy,
That's crazy.
they catch big bags here at Lake of the Ozarks. I mean, they catch. There's big ones, grown ones that live in there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Every time that I've ever, well, the 2 times I've been there, I should say 3 now, it's been a power fishing extravaganza. I mean, you had to do well, you had to catch big ones, and usually you caught a lot of 3-pounders. I'm not saying a 3-pounder was a big one. I can remember the first time I ever went, 2006, I had 22-12 the first day, and I was in 7th.
No way.
Yeah, I mean, we caught big ones. It was really good. And the last time I was there, which was just a couple of years before this, it wasn't as good, but there was some big ones caught. I think I caught 13 to 14 pounds a day on a 5-fish limit. But I caught a lot of fish. You could power fish hard, and you burn through a lot of keepers, a lot of 2.5-pounders.
If you look, they just showed the list. Big fish of the day so far is a 214 or something. So not even a 3-pounder.
You caught the 214.
What's that?
It's anybody's ballgame right now. I know that.
I think the first one you caught wasn't it like a 214 or is a big one?
Yeah,
I mean,
I got them down here on this belly. Yeah, the tail treble was in his, you know, just like his upper chest.
And there was a crankbait fish,
Crankbait.
correct?
Yep.
Be a pound. Be a pound.
Remember when you got one a bite on it? They were usually a little bit better size. I mean, it's, you know, the White River chain. You know, Lake Ozarks is not part of the White River, correct? Or is it?
Correct.
But it fishes similar.
Oh my God.
Right.
Adrian, that'll be
It
a
does.
landing violation,
So I remember, you know, the two main things I had on the deck were the crawdad crankbait and the jerkbait, just knowing that the White River chain is famous for that stuff. And so I just kind of, that's how I started rolling with it when we got there.
Those lakes in Missouri like that, they are chock full of fish. Like I remember it reminded me of Table Rock, the way it looked, and I was like, oh, this place has got them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're really.
Yeah, they've got them and they're bigger.
I bet you could sight fish there, which you know, it was in the fall. I would love to see some fish. I mean, I've seen Table Rock when they're on bed there, but them lakes up there in Missouri, man, they are loaded full of fish.
He now has
That
7
they
pounds,
are.
13 ounces. He's in 3rd place.
Just every few minutes, somebody will get him one. It's the second biggest fish I've caught today, and I wasn't even going to set the hook on it. Shows you got jerk, man. Doesn't matter how it feels.
We're throwing Berkeley X5 braid. This is 10-pound braid to a 6-pound trilene, 100% fluorocarbon leader. And this is just an Abu Garcia rod that I throw a lot with.
He loves throwing little baby swim baits. He loves
I
it.
like a 610 because it's a little bit shorter to where you can take them little roll casts. The big key to this.
Great for a spot like we're, you know, fishing a seawall like that, or a wave break, not a seawall. You know, he's out and he's probably fishing 50 feet of water.
Right.
Those fish suspend on the cables and on the walls, and
Unless you're spinning on these docks, you just got to find a little area.
right there, you can catch one on that corner, outside corner.
Back up in here. There we go. There we go. There we go.
I still haven't gotten to that. When I started catching them on the outside corners, I haven't figured that out yet.
Right there.
I'm still just hopping around. There's one of those trees right there. Throw your black and blue jig under it, buddy.
Spinning rod. Jerk bait, crankbait, Senko drop shot. Call it a day.
Swing him in. It's a good one right there.
It's a good one.
Jordan good one, Jojo.
2-pound,
Good.
3-ounce bass.
There goes Bobby.
Over a cable. Hung on the cable. Look at that.
Dude.
Looks like
Oh, man, that is, how nerve-wracking is that right there?
Look at it. He'd have came off with me, guaranteed.
Oh, he almost went down. That was close. That was a close one.
Wow. Yes.
He's excited because he knew he almost lost that one.
Nice. We'll take them any way we can get them.
Had to have it.
Bobby Lane, 2 pounds, 12 ounces. He now has 11 fish for 8.
Andy, you having a toughie right now.
Shocking.
Spider.
Oh yeah, I ain't had any bites. I do get one. I lost a couple, but this time, you know, it's one of those deals. I'm like, man, I'm going deer.
Man, this fish should be right on them walls.
Dinge. Need some dinge.
Outside. Outside corner.
Go for me, buddy.
That was on a little swimmer there.
He's going to be on the bubble.
1 pound, 0 ounces.
He was on the bubble.
Caught that one on a swimmer.
There's one. Please stay on. Please stay on.
Oh, Lucas hadn't caught one yet. This is his first one.
Yeah.
It's a good fish.
Caught one on one of those trees.
Like a nice one too.
Please stay on. All right.
Yeah. That was a nice one.
Finally, man. Towards the end of the
2
period.
pounds, 2 ounces.
2-2?
Yes, sir.
You sure?
This dude at that time was
I
a
haven't caught
big
one in
one.
so long. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look, if they show it, no one's caught a 3-pounder yet.
Here's 2 pounds, 2 ounces.
I just got a sneaky suspicion.
Bobby's got 18. The cut line is 313, just under 4.
Yeah.
Two guys are in the 3-pound range, tied 313 over the cut line. 3 pound.
One and had bite me off the end of the dock on the top water.
Andy, you have 5 minutes.
No, both of the ones I caught that morning, I seemed to be they were over brush too, out there a little deeper.
Yeah.
Bobby.
Oh yeah.
Remember they told us in the meeting that the guy that won the FLW event,
Had to have it. Give me some
They,
of that right there.
the guy caught him deep, or caught him on like a big deep diving crankbait and a 3/4 ounce jig. Remember that in the meeting? They told us that.
Right.
Bobby Lane
Yeah.
caught another 2-pounder. It was 210.
Exactly right.
He's at 20.
Sure did.
It's a good one.
Loving
Man, it's so hard to.
1 minute remaining, boys. Watch a
You
scoop.
can't, in something like this, unless you know that stuff's there, you can't, without practice, you can't find it in this format. Go fish.
Nope. Got to look when you bring them up stuff. That's right. You're just looking, just hoping to run across something.
I mean, maybe you could. I've never tried it, but you're gonna be in last place until third period.
Yeah.
You gotta figure out how to catch 30 pounds in an hour and a half off of a deep spot.
I'm in the hunt
Right.
to make the cut for sure.
I don't have the guts to go and try that.
I don't either.
Catching them and you're not,
Swimmer on just a little 1/4 ounce head.
Right.
Wouldn't have caught nothing.
I think we got to cover water faster. And I think I'm going to throw that little chopo for a while.
Went through a lot of baits. I got back here and
At the end of the period,
on a chopo,
Yeah.
top water, and
end of the period, and 3 pounds is the cut line.
and then started catching them on a curve
Puffy.
bait and a little swing.
That's
bait.
amazing.
Heck, I don't know. We throw in the kitchen sink and get them this morning. I don't know.
And you
about
got a couple of guys that are on up top there that have really figured things out. But there's Bobby. What's Bobby? 21 pounds. That's crazy.
both of them.
Yeah.
The last 2 were real
Unreal.
good fish on the buzzbait.
But you know how that changes, man. You may not get a bite the second and third period. Don't matter if you're leading or you're in last. You got 2 more periods, and those periods are big periods.
Yeah.
There's never a match. There's never we never have a round that isn't decided. It seems like in the last minute.
Yeah.
Always somebody in the last minute has a shot to make it, or they're not going to make it. They're going to fall out.
Yeah.
I don't know. When y'all see this happen here in a little bit, I remember it came down to seconds.
Really?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Yeah, I remember it starts firing up big time later in the day in this tournament.
Yeah.
I remember people started figuring it out, and it normally takes 3 or 4 hours for these guys, and they're dialed.
Better than that. We get to the end of the first period, and I'm at the.
Yeah, I was hoping to get off to a decent start in the mornings, especially. But later in the day, I did still have some pretty good hope that it's going to happen, and eventually you're going to run into them. The afternoons, typically, I've always caught bigger fish. It seems like in the afternoons, less fish, but they were always bigger. And I thought that was still going to be the case. I still power fishing.
That body of water to that pocket, I went and started running some new water. I was catching a lot of fish, scoreable bass back there, but I knew there was some greener grass somewhere else.
I'm sitting decent, but I got to go figure something else out. I can't go do the exact same thing in the exact same places. I might have to cover new water. That was my game plan going into period 2.
When I got back in, I'm like, all right, eliminate the very backs of the creeks. That's not going to be the deal because the water's too cool. In the middle of the creek, it seemed like there was a lot more bait. And so I was like, that is where I'm going to try to focus.
I didn't even notice the water temperature. I don't remember running around saying it was colder in the backs. I didn't notice that.
Let's take a look at the score tracker. Edwin Evers ended period 1 ratcheting.
I didn't either. I went to the back of a couple of them and didn't spend a ton of time. I kept on to stay out front. I really don't know why, or I wanted to stay.
Yeah. Struggling to keep their heads above the elimination line. Only 5 ounces separates 5th through 9th place.
Round 1's in the books. I'm right in the middle of packing 5th place. The whole key is top 6.
Well, that first period win is good.
I think I was running toward the back of the creek in this.
pretty good lead on
We kind of had to, because did we start kind of on the end of the zone, and your only choice was to go toward the back? Is that?
Chip and really kind of focus on where
Can't
the
remember.
wind blew into yesterday. One, I don't
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Was it?
There was a little bit of the zone that actually stuck into the main lake. Remember that?
Yeah, it was really windy. I remember in the run through, I ran out there and looked around because there's a whole arm that was, there was a little section of the main lake that we could fish, and then a whole separate little creek.
Probably a pretty quick stop, right?
Yes, yes.
I never fished over there. I ran it though, and I remember it was rough out there. And you got in the creek and it was calm, but out there on the main lake, it was real nasty, choppy, and whitecap.
It was. I waited till late that I did run out there and fish, and you know, some of that water was a little cleaner.
There'd be one on this dock.
1 pound.
Got me tail.
All right.
Sure did. Into the dock.
Yeah, they're on those corners like crazy. I remember that.
Look at Bobby just hammering them on a jig.
11 ounces.
Nice. A way to start the second period.
Bobby Lane's got another fish. He's now at 22.
He's back in there shallow too.
You remain
Oh, long sticking up.
Nothing wrong
Yeah,
with that.
pitching the bank. Casey caught that one on a buzzer, it looked like. Some sort of top water. Buzzer.
1 pound, 4 ounces.
You know what's crazy? Why? We do all the time. But like if I hear Bobby's catching them, automatically I know he's majority of the time shallow. You kind of are pitching a jig. You know these guys' styles of fishing. You know, like Andy, if he started lighting up, in my mind, he's skipping docks in the very back of a creek, super shallow. On the wind. But every now and then you'll see guys like, look, he's out there on main lake docks now. They can do anything.
Yeah.
You know, so you can't. Not necessarily. A lot of times you know the personality of a fisherman. These guys, Bobby may pull out there and throw a crankbait here in a minute and catch one in 20 foot. Who knows?
Don't even weigh 3.
Yeah.
Make sure
Yeah, it's never exactly what you think.
I'm not giving up because I know I catch a dang big one on buzzbait.
No, it never is.
All of a sudden you throw up in a dang little shade pocket. Boom, big one.
Especially with Jacob or Brent. You never know how these two are catching.
It's just so aggravating to throw it, really, because they're not biting it that well.
There he is.
Nice one.
Yeah, I don't even remember. Buzzing, maybe.
2 pounds, 2 ounces.
You can tell.
Finally got us one. That's a real good one. Jeez.
I think I remember this one right here. There's a school on the corner of a dock. And I think I lost a 4-pounder the cast before this one. Yeah, I remember there's this one dock. And I throw up there, and you know when I'll throw on a jerkbait, you know they nip at it like you feel them? And then I hang one and it's a 4 and it comes off. And another one tries to get it while I'm still working that single cast. And the very next cast, I catch that one.
In the fall of the year, one of the most important things is fishing conditions that the days provided. Early in the first period,
That was a big one. Was that a 3?
I didn't see.
He was using a buzzing
I didn't see what it was, but
in the short pockets off the main creek. But the days
yeah,
changed.
I don't remember.
The sun's popped out and the wind's picking
Outside
up.
corner of the dock. That's when I really got dialed on that corner dock deal. Was on that fish right there. When I had a whole school come up.
Concentrating on the short pockets. But there's one angler I'm keeping a close eye on, and that's Brent Ehrler. Ehrler is taking a jerkbait in the creek, and he's concentrating on shade, either created by the bluff walls or the boat docks, and he's catching scoreable bass. And if there's one angler that can catch Bobby Lane, that's Brent Ehrler, especially when he has a jerkbait in his hand.
Dock on a point.
That's the dock right there. That's the magic dock. I remember that one.
Right now, I think.
Yes, sir. Watched him swim out from under that dock and grab it.
Wow.
How cool was
He's on
that?
back end of gravel, which he's back further.
2 pounds, 1 ounce.
2 pounds, 1 ounce. I knew
I want to say he was on the left arm back there. So I think I was on the right arm. I don't remember seeing him. I could be wrong though.
Putting it on us.
Yeah, I don't think I saw either one of you
I'm
two.
telling you, I'm one little section away from.
Were you on the left arm?
Boom, boom. You know what I mean? It's a big.
I stayed out front a lot.
Well, shoot, we could have been fishing right next to each other. And we
There was
didn't
one
know it.
pretty.
Anything but a shaky head.
You know, when we're-
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. That
we're
thing's
both,
huge,
we don't
man.
know. What?
Now we're cooking with Crisco, boys.
That's a 2+.
Oh, I love it.
That's like a 4.5.
Man, I had to downsize. This is a lot clearer
Yeah.
pocket than any other one I've been in.
4 pounds, 4 ounces.
4.4.
Lake of the Ozark tub
Wow.
right there. Look at that fish. Thank you, girl. Mwah.
Big fish of the day right there, probably.
Sport tracker update. Yeah.
No doubt.
Edwin Evers just caught a 4 pound, 4 ounce bass.
Old big dog. Finally, somebody got a decent one.
4-pounder, man.
Super cool, you know. That I'm not hauling that fish to a weigh-in central location on the lake. I let that
Spinning
fish
rod. Did you catch that one on a spinning rod?
That dock, and, it's
I don't
cool
think
thinking
he
about
did.
fishing. We're not hauling fish all over the
We were
lake.
just talking about all those big ones coming on a spinning
One of
rod.
my favorite things about it.
Telling you, man, there's something about it. I don't know what it is.
Yes.
Yeah, 4-pounder. 4-pounder is always a good one, man.
You know what I didn't do in this tournament? I wish I would have. I wish that I'd have pitched around a wacky rig more. You know what I'm saying? Like just weightless, wacky, and just underneath them docks and all that. I didn't do that, but it's hard to slow down when you're got.
You know, I did it on laydowns, shallow, but I didn't do it on like the deeper docks or anything. I never tried it out there.
No, I never tried on them docks. I think I was just trying to get a bite or two and then play cleanup. You know what I mean?
Prior to where we are right now, I did throw it. And I threw it behind the docks, you know, under the walkways and behind the cables back there.
Yeah.
I mean, I caught a few. I remember catching a few scorables doing that, but I wasn't catching a lot. And like you said, it takes so much time to throw that.
I saw majority of the fish I seen on them docks, especially on the main lake ones, were spots. And
Yeah.
I didn't see any big spots. I mean, I would catch so many 15 ounces. I think I caught probably 10 15-ounce fish, and I was like, what's the deal? Finally, I said, we got to go find large.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish I would have thrown a spinner there a lot too. You know, I even knew to probably throw that spinning rod there. And I just didn't. It was just same what Brent said. I didn't want to slow down. I didn't feel like I was around enough to slow down, but hindsight, you know, more than likely I was.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, man.
Outside corner again.
Don't you do it.
It's pretty crazy when it's so, the pattern is so,
1 pound, 5 ounces.
you know, it gets so keyed in that you know where the bite's going to happen. I mean, you can look across the creek and see whatever that is. And I remember the outside corners of the docks were the deal, but I remember you literally look across somewhere and go, I'm going to catch one on that corner, that one dock over there, you know, and you fish the one you're at, you zoom over there, you drop the trommer, and first cast you catch one.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Doesn't always happen like that, but when it does, it's crazy how consistent it can be when you get on that pattern. And it's like you almost you can't fish anything else because it's so apparent just on that one, you know, whatever the pattern is.
Not really targeting anything super specific.
Yeah.
Most of our bites are coming off of commercial docks. I really hope I can expand this on the residential because we're running out of commercial docks. I'm about to get back in there where
Think about a pattern too, especially in these type of events or the Bass Pro Tour. There's only a limited amount of us out there. You can actually run a pattern that there's not 50 boats in your way during the course of the day.
Yeah.
And that's a cool thing about it. You have a pattern that you can work on all day.
Yeah.
Which has been new to a lot of us for sure.
Smoke that thing.
3 pounds, 10 ounces.
Good.
Yeah, 310. Yeah, that fish, I remember he had the jerkbait head first all the way down his throat. Just the very tail of the jerkbait was in the front of his mouth. The rest of it was head first down.
He had that jerkbait Nose first, all the way down his throat.
Old Brent's got on.
Bobby Lane.
That whole thing, I remember that. I mean, my line was going all the way down to the line tie. That thing was all the way down like that, backwards.
God.
Bobby stalled out a little bit, huh?
Well, when that sun gets up, I guess they shut down.
Big one. Big one. Stay on, baby. Please.
Baby. Got a big one.
Biggest one of the day. Yes, sir.
Bigger ones are starting to show up.
Good one.
Looks like it.
Good one. Super windy bank right here, steep. He smoked it.
I think I caught one late in the day right there on that little lawn chair.
I bet got him. It's all right, though.
I think I remember that.
Oh, my gosh, dude. Ouch.
Casey's a dock skipper, man, with a jig.
Yes, that one might go.
Those Carolina guys.
Yes.
It's gonna be close.
2 pounds.
All those Carolina
Yes, sir.
guys are really good at it.
Oh my goodness. But he likes to, he's not like a Montgomery or Thrift where they're skipping those shallow docks. Casey will go and skip a 20, 30-foot dock all day long. Andy Montgomery and Brian Thrift, if it sinks more than 2 feet, they're reeling it in.
Right there at the boat.
1 pound, 0 ounces. Brent Ehrler just caught another fish that weighed 1 pound, 0 ounces. That moves him into first place with 25 pounds and 7 ounces.
Yeah,
got him a little wind deal going or something.
Dude, that wind is killing me.
That wind helped, but man, it's hard to fish outside, wind-blown docks like that, cover water, jerk bait. It's hard to fish like that and boats sloshing around. And you get the waves bouncing off the docks too, so it's not just a consistent wave. You get that sloshing around the docks. It makes it tough.
Welcome back to General Tires.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. But I'm sure that's probably what drove your pattern. That wind definitely had to help. Hurts one pattern, helps another, brings one to life.
What I remember about this is that all the bites were on one side of the dock, and it was actually the sunny side of the dock, not the shady side. I think I caught a big one on the shady side, but everything else was on the sunny side. So if you're running like one shoreline of docks, all the bites were on, the first side. Like if I was going this one direction, every bite was on the first side. I would never catch one on the back side. First side of that next dock, first side of the next dock, never on the back side. And which I thought was weird. Normally, you always catch them on those shady corners, and here, like the sunny corner. I don't know why.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Must have been the way the wind was blowing or something, but they were all positioned on one side of the dock.
Big and stuff.
Wow.
Grab this thing. That's keeper.
1 pound, 8 ounces. Brent Ehrler's caught another fish, 1 pound, 8 ounces. Now has 26 pounds, 15 ounces.
Catching that crap.
Yeah, Bobby stalled out big time right there.
Can't tell.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he'll keep.
1 pound, 4 ounces.
I completely missed that jerkbait deal. I love that jerkbait too. I threw it some, but
8 pounds, 3 ounces.
I think I was just waiting.
I just want a big lead, I want to get out there. I can care less about winning. I just want to.
I mean, I love throwing jerkbait like that. I missed that whole deal.
Yeah.
Stay on.
Yeah,
I think what it is, I pulled up to some docks and I caught the 15-ounce spotted bass, and I said, I got to get off this. Got to get off of it. And I abandoned it. I didn't really keep
Same
it.
exact spot I just caught the other one.
I wonder if they're going to show it, because they got. I mean, I can't tell you how many doubles I had. I wonder if they're going to show any of them. But like I said, almost all of them were non-scorable. I think one I had.
I
was scorable, and another one was, but the rest of them were all
we took a right, and then there was like 4 or 5 big marinas through there. There were schools of spots underneath the marinas. You catch them on swim bait, but I never caught any big ones on it.
Never even caught a scoreable.
Never caught. I mean, I think I weighed in 1 scoreable, and then I caught like 6 or 7 off
1
of it.
pound, 11 ounces.
Wow.
There you go. A little bit, at least a decent one. I've been seeing a lot of fish, like at least, you know,
They could
around
drop
the
that from
size,
it
a
wasn't
little bit
outside
bigger,
from
all
the
up underneath these
dock.
docks, and they just won't commit to that vibrating jig. But hey, we just might have moved into 6th. Whoo, we got to catch him though.
Good one. Jordan Lee caught 3.
Cranking, it looks like.
Oh my gosh.
A 1-9, a 1-2, and a 1-1.
Spinning rods, I'll guarantee you.
Next scoreable bass, put you in the 3rd.
In the rods, I guarantee.
Yeah.
It was not.
Yeah.
It's a big one.
It's funny watching these shows when you see yourself say something to what the other guys are doing. It's never right.
Pound, 12 ounces.
Never.
Pound 3/4 spot right on the corner. Still on the.
And it's funny when you get to saying that and get to looking at things, you're trying to talk yourself into picking that up and trying it. You know what I mean? You don't want to break what you're doing. You think you might have a little tiny something going,
Yeah.
but really you should probably do some changing.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because we did this on the last one that was at Fort Gibson, the championship round that Mark Rose won. And he caught him so fast. And I knew there's one bridge there that, you know, had a bottleneck, and it was in the fall. And I'm like, man, I know he would catch one after another after another. Like, he found a school of fish. He's out there with a deep plug, a 3/4 ounce jig. He was in the back of a creek flipping bushes. I'm like, you can't catch him that fast flipping bushes. And that's how he caught him. And the whole time I thought he caught him on a bridge. And that was it. You know, he caught him in the back flipping.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never guess. It doesn't seem like ever guess that it's right how somebody's catching.
Yeah. Yeah. So crazy. It always happens that way. See, that was the shady side. No bite right there. Never.
That's what I was just fixing to say. That's the shady side. Didn't even make a cast and he rolled.
Yeah. They're all on the sunny
Pretty good
side.
shot at catching a few more keepers.
Yeah, every
This
time.
thing is just advancing. We need to advance.
That's all that matters. We just need to stay inside that 6.
It's funny looking at the different water. You know, there's a couple of us out there. We're sloshing around, hardly staying on the front deck, and it's all slick calm in the back where Casey's at right now.
I'll take 110.
Yeah.
And about 10 more to go with it.
30 seconds remaining in period 2.
I'm gonna leave it to the last period. Maybe I can pull up and catch some. Bam, bam, bam. Oh man, this is gonna come down to the last.
Yeah, I want to go fish a cup event. Those things are fun. Looking back on this, it's fun.
Really are fun. I enjoy those. I really enjoy that.
No practice. You know, you're just winging it the whole time. I mean, believe me, sometimes you hate it, but when it goes right, it's a lot of fun.
4, 3, 2.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, I love those cups.
Understand until you actually fish this format.
Look at Lucas is back in the spot right there. There's a bridge. I never saw anything like that.
Fish that same bridge. I know that was in the very back there.
Huh.
Was a bad
Yep.
call.
I never saw that.
Makes no sense. But a bad
Shows how
call.
much. I mean, there's only so much you can cover in a zone like that.
But we got one more period to figure it out.
We hanging in there. We got to catch them a little faster, though.
You can see the
So
leaderboard
far,
here
you know,
and
the
see
wind's
what
picking
the.
up more. I think I
what
got
the
on them
count
right
is.
at the right time. I have a feeling they might settle down. You know, as soon as that wind picked up, they started biting pretty well, and then they kind of tapered off again. So I think the next period might be kind of a grind, but I've got a comfortable spot, and you know, we're probably gonna run some new water.
I'm hanging in there, regroup. I got big old mat right there, blown in stuff. Might go tie a flipping stick on, come back here and give it a whirl. See you in the 3rd period.
He loves flipping.
Oh, he's
Oh,
probably
Bobo. This really shows, I mean, how a lot of you guys are so versatile and you're experts at everything you pick up. Then it rolls back to me, and I'm like, man, I got to do more stuff. I'm so one-dimensional, it kind of hangs you some.
Your adventure
That's
starts
funny.
here.
I don't know. See, you probably would have caught them on a spinning rod if you brought one. That's the problem. You didn't even bring one to this event.
Well, that's the biggest problem. Yes, very true, Brent. Very true.
Let's see this guy in the back. We got an exterminator here. I got rats out in my yard right now. I'm trying to get rid of them.
Gotta get rid of them.
I hear them fighting in the
This guy is so funny because the exterminator was spraying all around my hair a second ago. We had him come by once. He just left the house like 45 seconds ago.
Dude, I have them out in my we have a hedge on the side of my yard. I can hear them fighting at night out there. It's crazy. There's like it's like a rat mecca. You know, have you guys ever seen that movie Ratatouille? And all the rats are leaving the attic of the old lady's house. I got that going on in my hedge back here. There's a whole city of them. Oh man, we can't
be rat hunt.
I know. I need to pull out my BB gun and see if I can take care. I haven't seen one yet. That's the problem. If I did, I'd pull out my BB gun and go to work, but I can't. I'll hear them in there. But the old lady in Ratatouille used a shotgun. Maybe I need to do that to start blasting in the hedge.
Way more effective.
Just flocks.
He gets them around too. You know, he takes them away.
Yeah.
I'm sort of trying to.
I wonder how long that I would be in my house before the cops showed up and arrested me if I went out there and cleaned out my hedge with a shotgun.
I saw a 30-minute
Probably wouldn't be very
fish. Are you starting to put it together?
You know, it's really irritating because I'm seeing these fish, you know, and what's happening is with this wind blowing, there's big schools of bait. And so I'm seeing the fish that I know I need to catch, but I can't get them to react. I can't get them to bite. A little one gets it before it. So it's irritating. I'm just hoping that I can get on the right stretch and ultimately, you know, catch a couple of those better fish.
Jacob Wheeler's starting to put the pieces to the puzzle together. He's got a little bit of work left to be done.
I didn't even look at the leaderboard. I was too busy talking about rats and exterminators. I didn't even see what the leaderboard was like, what the field was, you know, what the weights were.
I don't know right now. I think I was right out of it.
Yeah, I think you were. And I think this is Wheeler was down, but he starts to get rolling right here.
Hey, your B, can't lose. 3, 2, 1, go.
That wind is up pretty good.
Yeah, it was. That third period was, dude. It was like a new day at dawn there.
Sun came out because we had that fog in the morning for a little bit. Sun's out, bright, wind's blowing.
Tom, I was thinking, starting on this bigger marina dock, giving me a chance for a dang big one. Big fish always live on marina docks.
That wind's messing things up. A little bit's good, too much is hard.
That's my magic dock in front of me there, and I remember I rolled through some areas where I'd catch one every time, and I remember it was hard to fish.
Gotta get back in that dinghy. It's the only way to do it.
£1 0 ounces.
Sweet.
Jordan Lee has caught a 1 pound 0 ounce bass.
Let's get on back there where them lures.
That was Amber Shears, huh?
Mm-hmm. I fished that spot right there. I remember that. And that's a spotted bass. And if it weighs, I don't know what it weighs, but I think I probably caught 4 15 ounces on that dock.
I'll
take it.
There, Andy, you got one back from behind the tree.
Yeah, that was the buzzbait deal. I think I fished the whole creek and caught one.
He was on a bag.
Yeah, you're right there. Both you guys are right there, just within, you know, just a bite or two of the cut. It's crazy how close you can be and just know that any cast or pitch, you're going to be right there in the cut any second.
Yeah, I remember going in even to the last minute or two there thinking, you know, if I get one bite, that I'm going to make it type thing. I fished quality for sure. I knew you could catch a big one there at Lake of the Ozarks. I mean, it's full of them. So you just expect it all day that you're going to get an opportunity.
Yeah.
Because it's really full of them.
Smoked it.
1 pound 9 ounces.
I'm going up and down this bank the whole time.
I ain't going nowhere else. They're on this wood down this bank.
That's a long bank, Connell.
Slot.
Yeah, I moved in the back of the creek where it split to the right. I went in there and there was this channel bend that went in and it met a flat where you go in the very back.
That's keeper.
And what's weird
6 ounces.
is like we try to put the puzzle together. We're trying to put a pieces together. You got basically two deals going. You got Brent on the main lake. He's catching them in the clear water on a jerkbait, and then you got guys like me and you know, Bobby. We're trying to do the dingy water deal. And sometimes I think that dingy water deal, it's got a hot, you know, you got a hot arm or a hot, you know.
Yeah.
Bobby was in and I went in the very back, like earlier, y'all seen all them shad flipping around. That was in the very back of another arm, and I thought, they're not back yet. So I said, well, let's go find another dingy arm. I go in the very back of another one. There wasn't any shad in there. Boom, we got a bite. Boom, we got a bite. And then puzzle starts getting put together for me a little bit.
Going through the arsenal.
He jumped up right there just in a second. He caught a couple fast.
Get up in here, baby.
1 pound, 13 ounces.
Thank you, Lord.
Because you were sitting right there in like 8th or 9th a second ago, 2 pounds out. Now you're 2 or 3 guys in.
Dustin Connell has recently caught a 1 pound, 13 ounce bass. His total is now 12 pounds, 2 ounces.
DC, boy, slow down. Should have been here all day.
Slow down.
Should have been here the whole stinking time. God.
That wind was rolling right then.
Yeah, I remember that. It just got worse and worse. Dude, you got a fly problem? You need to call exterminator.
My face, I can't. Sit here.
Oh my God, he pulled off.
These fish right here make me mad. I can't catch them.
That's getting exhausting.
Welcome back to General Tire's Major League Fishing. Jacob Wheeler is not accustomed to being at the bottom of the score tracker, but he hasn't given up yet. He's trying his luck on bluff.
I remember Jacob, he caught like 2 3-pounders back to back right here in a minute.
That's right.
I remember I was like, this guy. I was like, are you kidding me?
No, it won't stop.
In the past 20 minutes. Bad news for the 4 anglers at the bottom of the score tracker. After stalling out early in period 2, Bobby Lane has now gotten back in the game. He's under 2 pounds from taking back the top spot. An hour and a half remains to determine the final results.
What's crazy is how often we see a guy, you know, like Bobby that just throttles them in the morning. And then they stall out. And it's like they're chasing what happened and everyone else starts kind of figuring something else out. And it always seems like those guys that figure out and the guys that don't catch it, and they start kind of advancing. They get onto a whole different bite.
It's like when your window's open, you got to make the most of it right then, because when you find them, they're on the verge of changing when you find them.
Yeah, no kidding. And that's what's so hard is trying to leave what you found. You know, that's what got you to where you were. Where's that point where you go, I have to change completely because this is not working? You know, you're always chasing what happened and not what is happening.
Another double.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I had so many of those.
That's 3 doubles today.
Oh, my gosh.
That one might be a keeper right there.
I had so many doubles, it was insane.
Make sure you get the big one.
Finally got a keeper out of a double.
Yeah, I didn't catch very many keepers out of. I had so many. I mean, they show that one there. Dude, it happened so many times. There was one dock where I had like 3 doubles on one dock, one corner. Every time I came back to it, I catch a double.
Look at Bobby flipping over. Man.
1 pound, 6 ounces.
Yeah, black he is. All them other ones are white. That means he's just been living under there.
Bobby Lane just caught his 18th bass. He stays in 2nd place with 29 pounds, 7 ounces.
Gosh, y'all are running away with it, man.
Y'all did. I mean, dude, that was just crazy.
Stuff that's blown in from storms and high water. And what it does is it gets in these little valleys and it just stops. You see the Lawrence up there is reading 3.
Get him out there, son.
Water right here underneath me. And I'm just flipping a 3/4 ounce. It's got an old creature hog on it. Just punch it around. You can see there's just
Look
all
at that,
kinds
man.
of
Why he's not throwing a
opportunities
frog?
for these fish to be laying.
Yeah.
Get up in there, baby.
Pretty good one.
I got lucky on her. She stayed hooked.
Yeah.
Stay hooked.
Yeah,
Fish lady
2
bite.
minutes.
2 minute
There it
Come
goes.
on now.
I said,
Ding. Come on, baby.
Lucas been catching any?
No,
That surprises me.
he's in 10th place with 3 bass.
That surprises me, man.
11 ounces, non-squirrel.
Dude, how are they?
Lucas is surprised too.
This is favorite Big Sexy, 7'2", medium heavy. It's got a real
Big
good tip.
sexy.
Andy knows about that rod. That's a good rod for a
That is a
chatterbait.
really good rod.
When they bite
Yep.
Yes, that is the one.
That's the only rod I throw this on.
Big
I
Sexy.
very seldom lose them on it.
Big
Got lucky on
sexy.
him, I barely had her hooked.
He's barely hooked.
Edwin steadily caught him. We hadn't talked a lot about Edwin. He just always steadily catches them. But
And he caught a couple big ones too.
is he cranking or is he?
Looks like he's cranking. I think he's like,
That's what I thought. It's a little chop up.
That blows my mind. You guys call him crank. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a real big crankbait guy. I mean, it's shallow cranking. If I got a crankbait, majority of the time I'm deep cranking. I don't really like, because like for me, I can throw so many other baits, a spinner bait, a great jig. You know, I can swim a jig shallow, but I know a lot of these guys, they throw that 3 to 8 foot range crankbaits like religiously, and I guess it all depends on where you're from too. You know, you got Edwin up there in Oklahoma and all that, and Andy, you love throwing square bills and stuff like that too. But I don't know.
I did quite a bit too. Going back to the spinning rod right here. He just picked up a spinning rod.
yeah.
Don't you pull off. Don't you fall off now either.
1 pound, 10 ounces.
Nice.
It almost looked like he was throwing like a little flat side, you know, a plastic flat side, not a balsa, plastic kind of flat side. Real.
Yeah.
Messy.
Yeah.
9 ounces.
So.
9 ounces.
But he had a 4 or something. It looked like he's got, you know, 2 in that 3 pound range too.
Yes, he does. He's got some good ones. Here comes Wheeler.
Wheeler just caught his 10th fish. His last fish weighed 1 pound 5 ounces. You have a 1 pound 1 ounce lead over Jacob Wheeler.
Come on, fish. All of them boys are all so close.
One of them shoring us, man, just to close this thing out. Only like 4 younders.
That lake seems pretty fun. I'd like to go back there when it was really good. You know, try it, fish around the lake, and just, you know, see the entire lake, see what it looks like. And, you know,
And it would have been good then. Yeah. Yeah. If we weren't confined to just one area there, could have ran, even that time in that front, we would have caught them pretty big. I mean, you know, the pattern you had going on, obviously, I think you could have went, probably even caught some bigger fish in areas. And especially the shallow fishing is always good at Lake of the Ozarks.
Edwin Evers is making a push for first place.
It's that one lake that, you know, I've always heard about and been around it, but never actually fished it. And it's almost like fishing all over the place and never going to Lake Gunnersville or something. It's one of those lakes that you always hear about. Probably not well known as Gunnersville, but it has that feel as a tournament angler. You always hear about Lake of the Ozarks, and you know, I've never actually gone and ran around the entire lake with my boat and looked at stuff.
Pretty good. Just caught 3 back to back to back.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I've been on it, and not all of it. Any means, but I've been up in some of those bigger arms and stuff on up the rivers, down the lake. I mean, it's, and I've never fished anywhere very long that you don't catch some fish. It's got a lot of them in it.
Come on, don't do it.
Got a lot of big ones too, you know, 4 pluses.
He catches.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We said it. We needed one. We got one. Yeah. Finally, baby.
Buzzing?
Shady side of the dock, too.
I think he caught it on a
6 ounces.
chatterbait.
Ding. That is what I'm talking about. Yes.
Found it.
We needed that. I've been seeing.
I think he catches another one like the next cast.
So a lot of this stuff finally got one of them bigger ones to bite. That's what I'm talking about.
Damn. It's coming down to the wire.
Can't win for losing.
Better step up my game if I want to play. Oh, we're going to get a swing for it, boys.
I've thrown jerk bait.
Well, not another rod. Third period right there at the end.
Figure a way to get one of those fish to bite, and finally made it happen. You know, it just, gosh, man.
Casey out there just counted his jig down 20 seconds to get to the bottom.
1 pound, 9 ounces.
I'll take it.
So hard to do.
You remain an 8
It is.
with 9
Very.
14.
Just two 2.5 pounders is all that is. But dang.
It's crazy, like what Adrian just said. I mean, it comes down to the wire where you don't have that much time. You catch two 2-pounders and you're in. It happens so often. It happens so easily, but it seems like it's so hard.
There it is.
There we go. I've been seeing them. I told y'all.
Hey, Jake, you know what he did? I always call him this. He had to dial up the fish going. Beep, 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 beep. 2 3 pounders. Y'all call him on in. Here you go. That's what he does. He does that.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh,
He's amazing.
Now we're catching some good ones. That's the kind, I'm telling y'all, Lake the Ozarks is full of them like that. I'm like, I already know.
He's right. That's what Lake of the Ozarks is full of. I mean, everybody's sitting around that cut line right there. I mean, golly, just watch swimming around your boat. I mean, it's got 'em.
Jacob, that 3 pound, 5 ounce fish brings your total to 18 pounds, 11 ounces. You are now in 4th place.
Ooh.
Look at Bob dragging around old jig and pig.
Got another.
The sun's getting lower. They're going to start biting his jig again. He caught them all. The light was kind of low, and then it got bright and sunny. He didn't catch them. Right now, you can see the shadows are getting bigger.
He's now back in second with 31 pounds, 12 ounces. He's 7 ounces behind you.
Caught him a good one.
Oh,
2.5, man. I'd like to catch a 2.5 right now.
I just saw these pilings in here, and this is kind of what I was fishing this morning, and pulled up in here, and the first, second piling I got a bite on, so that's good news.
All right, we got to move.
I suck.
How much time's left?
It can't be very, very much.
1 ounce.
Yeah.
Jacob Wheeler, he just caught a
I remember I was
However, before that, he caught a 3.5.
6.
Got a little bit.
He's in 4th. You're in 5th.
Yeah.
He gets it going. He gets it going.
Yeah, he's busted her butt this evening.
One of the biggest things with this technique is your rod length. You know, right here, I'm throwing my 7-foot medium heavy action rod. You want something with a little bit of fast tip, but then you want some backbone towards the back, so when that fish bites it, you're good to go. But
Still 9 ounces back.
Yes, sir. 9 ounces. One
So
score.
you're just out of the cut right now, correct?
Come on, baby.
I'm just out of it. 9 ounces.
6 go.
there you go, chunker.
Yeah, 6 advance.
Chunker, man. That one hasn't missed a meal in a while.
1 pound, 9 ounces.
That's what it's like.
Yeah, I'm like 9 ounces out, and I done caught like 12, 15 ounce fish. It's like, you gotta be kidding me.
You know what's funny is watching a guy catch one right here, and you always wonder if they get excited about letting it go without weighing it. And Klein did that in a cup, I don't know, a couple of years ago. He was so excited because he caught a fish and it bumped him up. He was pumping, yelling, kind of excited, goes like this, goes, look at that one, just lets it go and didn't weigh it.
Oh, me.
Fish so hard today, and you're not getting many bites, so it's hard to put a
So funny, you're so used to catching and releasing him, and he got caught up in the moment, didn't even weigh it, just went and dropped it right back over the side.
Got the middle process.
Yeah. I think he's still advanced. I can't remember, but he told me about it. He goes, you won't believe what I did today.
1 pound, 2 ounces.
But you see someone catch one, you're wondering, I want to see someone catch and go, yeah, finally, and then just go, boop, drop it back in. Not weigh it.
Gosh, man, I remember this. It came down so close. Like the last 10 or 12, like it came down to like the last 2 or 3 minutes, I think. And me and Casey were bouncing back and forth, and I caught that one fish. I think I catch one more here in a minute, and I jumped up. I was like, surely I'm in. Surely I'm in.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I remember I was sitting there going through every second on the score tracker. I was at this point almost on the sidelines watching. You know what I mean?
You were thinking about deer, is what you said. Oh, I'm gonna shoot me a big old buck this fall, man.
I did. I killed a 160 about 2 days after this.
How much did Connell up on it? 9 ounces.
Oh, jeez. Oh, buddy boy.
Yep.
Ashley catches one.
Outside corner of the dock, Brent.
Yeah.
1 2 pound.
Better bait.
Take it.
The sunny side, too.
Yes, sir. You maybe done caught another one, but that'll make a dent in it.
Yeah, outside corner on the sunny side.
Update for you. Casey Ashley has caught his 9th fish, weighed 2 pounds.
He knocked me back out with like literally 10 seconds left.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's been fun, boys.
Poor old Dustin and good for
No
Casey.
way. That thing,
4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, I'm mad, guys. I told him, I said, get out of my way.
no way. I thought it was coming down to the wire for on the good side where you caught one at the end. You got knocked out. Oh man, that sucks. I mean, that's awesome.
Boys.
Like I said, it don't matter where
It's so funny. You're looking at the 2 sides right here.
Just got to go to the next round.
The 2 sides of the
Last minute is what I'm talking about.
so crazy.
Sorry, DC.
I would say that I'm just totally.
Oh, DC.
Good year, can't complain. Now I get to go deer hunting. So
I did bring a spinner on. I saw it.
Well, there you go. It's probably laying right there at the bottom of the lake, right where you had
it. It could be.
Best, man. That's what
Oh
I needed.
man,
I need to make that cut. Go to the.
that's so funny.
Sudden death.
That's a great job, though, Brent. That was well done.
Yeah, that was
Together.
puzzle together. That's it wasn't easy.
Let's try and win it.
What's funny is when we started this, I didn't remember winning the round. Kind of halfway through, I remembered that I ended up winning the round, but in the beginning, I didn't even, you don't really pay as much attention to this because this is a round. We advanced, but it's not the final one. It's not, I didn't win, I advanced, but when it comes down to a round like this, I completely forgot that I was on the top for that round.
Great. And a lot of the focus is just like right here on Dustin. His focus was 6th place. And of course, you didn't forget what happened there. Obviously, Dustin, sorry to hear, but
Hey, look, and I'll tell you, these cups, you would think you're like, oh, all I got to do is beat 4 of these guys. These guys are the best in the world. And it all comes down to that one bite. Every fish counts. And that's the cool thing about Major League Fishing and these cups. One bite can change you from advancing or holding a trophy. Who knows, So that was a super fun tournament, though. I'm ready to fire these cups back up.
I mean, how many fish did you have that day that you lost that all you needed was half a pound, right? You're in or just
9, and I caught probably 15 ounces. So I just needed one of them to weigh 1 more ounce and we'd have made it.
Yeah. Exactly.
It was a different
You think about the lost fish, and you know the one that Andy that you won the Bass Pro Tour. I remember at the end of the day on the knockout round, I lost one, and then with 15 minutes to go, I was 3 pounds out, and I threw over a laydown over the top of it. You know, it's one of those submerged ones, and my line moves, and I lift up, and I set the hook. The fish was racing under the log, and I set the hook, and my line was over the log. I snapped. It was a 5-pounder with 15 minutes to go in the day. I would have made the finals, and I got bumped out just like that.
Yep.
So how it comes down to just the end of the day like that.
Yeah, it does. It does. I mean, Table Rock's the same way for me, and I guess the June one, I lost a couple of fish that day. I lost one in the last 3 minutes, just not a big one, just a 2-pounder. Well, I ended up like missing a cut at 114. You know, so then you don't get a shot. If you're out, you're out. You don't get that shot, and it don't matter if you're in sixth or you win the round like you did. If you get the shot, everything's zeroed. You get a chance, just like you said, Dustin, to hold the trophy. You still advance, and you still get a chance.
Because who knows what would happen on that final day? You get through there, and you might be the one that smashes them on that day. So
that's exactly right.
So look, that big fish of the day was a 4-pounder, a 404. You know, not a ton of big fish.
I think we hit that about 2 weeks early, or maybe a week or two early. I think if we'd have been there about another 2 weeks later, after that cool front set in and all the fish started moving along and they're back in the backs, you'd have seen a lot more fish schooling. And that's a cool lake, though. I'm ready to go back there.
Well, even probably Lake Ozarks is big enough. Probably even when we were there, there's a section of that lake that would have fired. You know, so if you would have had the whole lake wide open, we would have probably, you know, some guys would have really crushed.
Yeah, someone runs into that area and just makes it look easy. Yeah. Yeah.
Without a doubt.
What was weird is that
Crazy.
felt like it was the
Fun lake, fun to see. I'm anxious to get back on the road and start fishing again. I don't know how much you guys have been doing, but watching this makes me want to go again.
I'm fired up, ready to go now.
Does me too. Yeah, I do. I miss it. Hell, I miss all you guys. I'm ready to get back out there and shoot, have some competition, catch a few bass, hopefully make us $1 or $2.
What's funny is we're watching this and we're, you know, pants and sweatshirts and jackets, and we're going to Florida in June and gonna, you know, the coldest it's gonna be the whole time we're there. It's probably 80 degrees at night.
Yes. I mean, we're not even going to get anything but the oven, what we're going to get.
Every other cast, I'd have to pull a shad off on the bait and get snagged. You know, even later, the colder it gets, they might start flushing even more towards the backs of these creeks.
Did you guys see that shot where they're showing idling out of a pocket and the shad were jumping through, the threadfin were jumping through the bubbles?
That's crazy.
It's hard to let me ball already. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. Like, it's already heated up here in Alabama, and then, like I said, we're going to Florida coming up June the 7th. I mean, I'm literally leaving a week from tomorrow, so it's gonna be hot. I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm kind of ready for a little fall fishing already. It's starting to get hot and get stagnant here.
It's not too bad here yet. I mean, it's coming here for the next few days, but fishing's still, you know, pretty good here, and they're moving out and everything's getting piled up and they're catching a lot of fish here. So, but anyway, I'm ready to get back to some kind of normalcy and some competition.
No kidding. Well, glad you guys were able to join here. Looks like the show's over. That was pretty cool. Dustin, Andy, thanks you guys. It was a lot of fun, and you guys travel safe. We'll see you here in about 10 days at the next event.
I appreciate it. I enjoyed it, and good job, Brent.
Congratulations. Awesome round, dude. You're never surprising me. I always expect it. Great job.
Thanks, you guys. Appreciate it. You guys have fun. We'll see you.
Safe travels.